The Common Reporting Standards, a CRS, was developed as a global response to Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. This is in response to G20's request of 2013 and approved by OECD Council in 2014. CRS is a global reporting standard for the automatic exchange of information and is aimed to allow tax authorities obtain a clearer understanding of financial assets held abroad by their residents for tax purposes. Now, with CRS regulations in place, reporting financial institutions are required to provide the financial information of non-resident taxpayers in Nigeria to the FRS, as a Federal Inland Revenue Service. CRS will also enable FRS to request financial information about Nigerian taxpayers in all countries that are signatory to the agreement. The main objective of the CRS is for jurisdictions to obtain financial accounts information of non-resident persons from their financial institutions and exchange same automatically with other jurisdictions annually, and also the common due diligence procedures to be followed by FIs annually. This is to ensure that each jurisdiction gets their fair share of revenue in forms of taxes from individuals and companies, regardless of where the financial assets are kept. Now, Nigeria may stand to benefit more from the CRS if the FRS can key into the objectives. Some are highlighted now on the screen. Nigeria may have very few financial account information to report to other jurisdictions. This is due to the fact that the number of financial accounts of non-resident persons that have reportable accounts in Nigeria is small compared to the number of tax resident Nigerians that have financial accounts in other jurisdictions. Now, this regulation may help bring in more income to the tax base. Let's make more sense of this. I have joining me live in the studio to tell us what CRS regulation stands for, what Nigeria intends to make, a lot of discussions about this, limitations, and what can happen even if you don't comply. I have the managing consultant, PEDABO, Mr. Albert Folorunsho. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Folorunsho.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on the show again today.
Yes, thank you.
First, take us through what Common Reporting Standards in Nigeria, what it stands for, because to my understanding, it's just a global response to Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. Take us through what it really means.
Yeah, like you said, you already gave the summary, which is a global response to Foreign Account FATCA, which was an initiative of the United States to ensure all citizens, whether resident or not, are subjected to tax on income accruing to them. You know, that is the basis for FATCA. And so the G20 through the OECD also came up with the CRS as a response so that income derived can be assessed to tax where the person who earns the income is resident. Okay, of course, we know we have two bases for assessing income: the source of the income and the place of residence of the recipient of the income. And so one of the approach that has been put together is this CRS to ensure that income that are derived from specific sources, for example, income derived from Nigeria, which have not been subjected to tax but are kept in foreign accounts, can be accessed by the Federal Revenue Service through this exchange of information arrangement. Okay, like you highlighted, the main objective is to be able to ascertain Nigerians who have Nigerian tax residents, those who are liable to tax in Nigeria. If you are a resident in Nigeria, whether your income is derived from Nigeria or outside Nigeria, that income is liable to tax in Nigeria. So if you probably you are resident in Nigeria and you have income that has been stashed offshore, okay, the arrangement is such that Nigeria should be able to provide reciprocal information, okay, that the other jurisdiction will also provide the Nigerian authority. So there is a platform where, which has been provided by OECD, where jurisdictions that have signed into this common reporting standard can exchange information. There are 109 countries that have signed, including 7 in Africa.
Yes, 7.
Okay, such that information provided by the foreign entities, by other jurisdictions, by other countries, will be available on this platform for Federal Revenue Service. But for you to be able to access it, the Federal Revenue Service must also comply with those provisions whereby they can provide information on non-tax resident persons who are in Nigeria, or non-tax resident persons that have accounts in Nigerian financial institutions, so that that information can be made available to, in the platform, so that the countries where they are resident can have access to that information and raise questions. And like you have highlighted, we expect, or it is assumed, that there will be more Nigerians that have account in foreign account than non-resident persons that have account in Nigerian financial institution. Okay, so the objective is to ensure that Nigeria is able to have a fair share of the income that have been derived in Nigeria, but probably may not have been disclosed to the tax authority. And that is why you observe that the Federal Revenue, all effort is being pushed to expand the tax base. Okay, the focus is not Nigerians that are resident or tax residents in Nigeria. Of course, the banks that have been asked to provide this information, it's difficult for them to know. So you need to complete, that's why they talk about the self-certification. Okay, even though the approach may not have been what Nigerians expect, I believe that is something that can be done through the banking system, maybe through the CBN giving instruction, just like the way the US did their own through FATCA. There was not so much noise about it. But of course, we know in Nigeria, if we don't push a little bit, the resident will probably not respond. So that is why there is that need for individuals to complete the self-certification. But of course, the focus majorly is for the banks and other financial institutions, life assurance companies, asset management companies, stockbroking firms who have account of non-tax resident Nigeria, to provide that information for FRS by completing the form, which will now be placed on the, you complete the form online anyway, through a platform that has been provided by OECD. Okay, and so when the information is provided, then the other countries will have access to that information, provided a bilateral agreement is signed between Nigeria and that specific country. So which means that you must even be ready to receive information from other countries for you to benefit. From what I know for now, Nigeria does not have the ability to receive or have access to the to the information provided by the other jurisdiction. Okay, maybe because of some other protocol that are supposed to be carried out by the OECD members to be able to certify that you are ready to receive the information. Okay, but of course, Nigeria have already now ability to provide information to about 59 countries, but we cannot receive yet. So it is a little bit still one-sided. Some other, apart from South Africa, there is no other country in Africa that can receive information or that can have even access to that information. So we are not too far behind, but of course, there's a need to comply. Otherwise, we will not be able, the benefit is for Nigeria, so that we will have access to those foreign accounts of Nigerian tax residents, which will eventually expand the tax base with this revenue that Nigeria is pursuing.
I see a lot of clarity in that explanation, and just where you stopped, revenue that they are pursuing, particularly non-oil sector, which taxation plays a very important role. I see this aggressive drive by the FRS. I don't think you're thinking otherwise. And sometime last week there was also a directive from them, and there was also a retraction, and later it was correctly spelled out that we thought Nigerians were going to trunk banks, and in this time of pandemic, everybody was so scared for the forms and all of that before they now came out to say, no, it's not for everybody. Can we talk about this and make Nigerians understand what this really means? Okay,
you know that you need information to be able to assess the level of compliance.
Yes.
And of course, this is purely information-based. Okay, it is for the financial institution, the reporting financial institution, to be able to ascertain, they are required to carry out due diligence to ascertain the account of non-tax resident persons and entities that are in reporting financial institution, to report same to the Federal Inland Revenue Service by completing, the CRS form. That will give the FRS the information of non-resident individuals. So it is not really about Nigerian resident. It is not really about individuals and companies that are resident in Nigeria. They're already in the tax net. But of course, the FRA does not know those who also have dual residence. Some may be living in Nigeria, but they are resident of UK. And if they are resident of UK and they are living in Nigeria, then it means that their information is supposed to be provided on the platform through the FRS. And the only way that information can be provided if the bank carry out due diligence. And how will the bank carry out the due diligence? It's by contacting the customers. Okay, it may not all of them will be very straightforward. If you are an existing customer, it's more difficult. But for new customers, I'm sure their form now, they will have adjusted the form such that this information that FRS require will be automatically completed when you are opening new account. But for those who already have bank accounts, it's difficult to ask them. What they are saying is that if you already have bank account, there's some additional information that is required. We need to know, are you tax resident outside Nigeria? Okay, if yes, can you provide your information so that you will now be exposed to the financial institution and you will form part of the information that the financial institution will provide FRS. That is just the essence. And I think the FRS has made those corrections. Okay, it is not all Nigerians that are required to file to complete the self-certification form. Okay, I believe that the banks will carry out their due diligence, and on the basis of what they have carried out, they should be able to have, an idea of those who they will contact to complete that form. To be able to, Nigeria is in need of that platform to be able to ascertain those Nigerians that have income outside Nigeria. It's not that the total income is fully taxable. We need to understand that. It's just to be sure that the tax that is due to Nigeria has been paid. If you have any income abroad and you probably pay tax abroad, okay, and you disclose this in Nigeria, in fact, we have relief provisions in the tax law that even exempt it from tax, whether we have unilateral arrangement or double taxation arrangement. Okay, but you need to disclose. And where it has not been fully taxable, then the balance of the tax will be paid in Nigeria. So that is just the idea behind the common reporting standard.
Let's now look at the basic highlights now of CRS regulation. We've talked about the objectives and also further take us through how they file CRS reports.
Okay, the first thing is to identify whether you are a reporting financial institution, because reporting financial institutions are the ones required to complete the common reporting standard form, which means you are a bank, you are a custodian, you are a stockbroking firm, you are a life assurance company. Those are companies, those are entities that we refer to as reporting financial institution. Then it is the responsibility of the reporting financial institution to identify the reportable person or entities, those who are supposed to be disclosed. And like I said, those are non-resident, non-tax resident persons that have accounts in those reporting financial institutions. If you have been identified, then your information as to how much income, how much balance you have in your account as at the end of the year, the report is supposed to be filed by 31st of May of the following year, even though this year has been extended to September because of COVID. Okay, so it is the responsibility of the financial institution to provide that information. Do you have rental income from Nigeria? Do you have dividend income? Do you have interest income? And what is the balance on the account? In fact, they are supposed to provide the source of the income in that information. Okay, so if that is provided, then it will be completed on the CRS platform, okay, which has been provided, which is global, so that other jurisdictions can also have access to it. It's a bit complex, but is doable, and a lot of companies are already completing it. So that is what we have.
Okay, for the filing, right?
For the filing.
But this definitely has some limitations when you talk about a CRS, this regulation. What are the limitations?
The limitations are, of course, starting with the platform. Okay, of course, it has to do with network. For example, if you have one person that have account in more than one country, you are supposed to complete the same form for all those jurisdictions. Okay. Again, we have talked about reporting financial institution. What happens to microfinance banks? Are we going to say all the microfinance banks in Nigeria should complete the forms? And if they don't complete, are they going to pay the penalty of 10 million for the first month and 1 million for each subsequent month? The failure continues. Do they really have reportable reporting persons? That, so all of those have to be taken into consideration. Do we need to exclude those financial institutions that we really know cannot comply? Most of them cannot comply, and they will just be exposed to penalty that they cannot pay. Those are some of the limitations. Again, how will the reporting person, the bank now, know the sources of income? You just make payment to your account, and then at the end, at a particular period, you have a balance. You cannot know the composition. The bank may not know the composition of that balance, but those are some of the information that are required on the CRS platform. So those limitations need to be taken care of. And of course, the banks have said that it is cumbersome. We cannot go back to our client, to our customers, and ask them to complete the form. But there's a way they can go about it. They can do their due diligence, because it's an information that we need to provide. Otherwise, we will not have, Nigeria will not have access to similar information to be provided by other jurisdictions.
You've already started talking about what would happen if there is non-compliance. And that was supposed to be my next question. I'm looking at what will happen for non-compliance, and any silver lining in all of this for Nigeria, or it's just that we'll get more revenue from taxation?
The bottom line is that Nigeria is taking all steps to widen the tax base, to ensure those who are not in the tax net are brought into the tax net. Failure to comply, to complete the information, to file the return is for the first month. For example, if you don't file by end of this month, September, okay, the financial institution will be liable to a penalty of 10 million naira. Wow. And for each month that continues, the failure continues, additional 1 million naira. Huh. Okay? And of course, where you provide wrong information, there's penalty of 5 million naira, and then 100,000 naira for each subsequent month until those corrections are made. So the most important part is the fact that Nigeria needs those information. It's just, for me, I look at it as an extension of the voluntary asset and income declaration scheme, where you are supposed to have declared your income and assets. Okay, so this one now is to check, have you really declared those information? If they now have information from the other jurisdiction, as soon as Nigeria is able to have that platform to receive and access those information, then they will take it further to ask questions. Have you paid tax on this income before you transfer it abroad? Again, the income accruing on that income transferred abroad, are you disclosing it? Have you paid the appropriate tax? Okay, is it included in your returns for both companies and individuals that are tax residents in Nigeria?
It's very interesting.
Yes.
I know you can go on because that passion is there and the understanding of the subject of discourse, but as usual, television, it's always time. Managing consultant, it's been interesting. We almost,
thank you very much.
PEDABO, Mr. Albert Folorunsho there, giving us what it really means, what it stands for, talking about common reporting standards regulation, what it means for Nigeria. Thank you so much. It's great to see you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.